Okay, so we have to get the volume of a sphere now. Okay. Sphere, as we know, it looks like a ball. Sometimes I might give you the radius. I'm looking at number 17. I give you the radius of the sphere. Sometimes I might give it diameter, like we see number 18. So be careful what we do. But first, let me come out with a formula. How are we going to get the volume of a sphere? What I started, let me show you guys what I did. I graphed a cone because we learned last week the area of a cone was the area of the base times the height divided by 3. I grab a cone. Now the height of my cone, it is the same height as my sphere. Right? I want us to focus that the height is the same. So the height of my cone is the same as the sphere. I laid the cone down so we can see the base is a circle, the same thing as my spheres. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I fill up my cone with water. So I grab a cone, I fill it with water, and I put it into the sphere. I want to see how much of the sphere I can fill up. And I happen to get, let me show you guys this picture. I don't know if you guys can see, but the water is only halfway. So one cone, again, I grab the cone and I put the water inside of the sphere, and it gave me half of the sphere. One cone gave me half of the sphere. So then, based on that, I'm gonna say that two cones, it's equal to one sphere. You guys don't believe me, you guys can try this at home, or you guys can come over to my office and I can show you guys here. So two cones is one sphere. All right, so I remember the area of the cone was going to be area of the base. So to begin with, I was area of the base times the height divided by 3. Right, that is one cone. But because it's two cone, let me just multiply the top by 2. So 2 times the base times the height divided by 3. All right, let me work this out a little bit more. So I have a 2 on the top. Now the base is a circle. Right, the base is a circle. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna multiply this by radius times pi. Right, that's the area of the base. And the height, interesting. The height was the height of the sphere. Couldn't I just say this is one radius and this is another radius? So I'm gonna say the height is 2 times the radius. So times 2 times the radius. And all of this is divided by 3. Let me put inside parentheses. So this parenthesis is the area of the base, right? Radius squared pi. This 2 times the radius is the height. Okay, so I just put my parentheses so you guys can see 2 times the base times the height divided by 3. Let me remove my parentheses. I was just doing the parentheses so you guys can see. But let me simplify this formula. On my numbers on the top, let me cross these two numbers because I'm just going to combine them. I'm going to multiply them. 2 times 2 is 4. When it looks to the radius, I'm going to say radius to the third times pi. If you notice, I combined my radius. There were 3 of them. So radius actually in plural is radii. I combined my radii. So 3 of them. So I did radius to the third over 3. So this is the formula I am going to use to find the volume of a sphere. 4 times radius cubed times pi divided by 3. All right, so let's take a look at our homework here, or our notes here. Again, the volume, the formula I'm going to use for volume, let me remind you guys, is going to be 4 times radius cubed times pi divided by 3. So for number 17, I'm going to go 4 times 12 times 12 times 12. Right, my radius 3 times, radius cubed times pi. You're using a calculator, use the pi symbol. Don't use 3.14. That's the rounding number. Use the pi symbol. In EDIA, you guys have a calculator. Right there where it says show your work. That's a calculator. Type it in. But for the number pi, type in pi. And whatever you get, I'm going to divide this. So like I'm going to multiply all this, and I'm going to divide it by 3. So I have 4 times 12 times 12 times 12 times pi divided by 3. I'm going to round. In my notes here, it says round it to the nearest tenth. So 1 decimal place. So 7,238.2. So 7, when I round it to 2 decimal places. If I had to round it to, to 1 decimal place, if I had to round it to 2 decimal places, it would have been 0.23. Make sure you guys pay attention to the instructions. On my notes, it says round it to the nearest tenth. So 1 decimal place. In your homework, I might ask you to round it to a different decimal place. So make sure you guys pay attention to your instructions. All right, let's take a look at number 18. I'm going to go 4 times. Okay, I need to know the radius. The diameter is 16. I'm going to say the radius in this case is going to be 8. This is the half of the diameter. So my formula, I'm going to go 4 times 8 times 8 times 8 times pi. All of this divided by 3. According to my calculator, I'm going to round it to 1 decimal place. So I get 2,144.7. If I had to do it to 2 decimal places, I would have said 0.66. Right, make sure you guys look at your instructions, okay? For the notes, again, I'm doing 1 decimal place. For your homework, pay attention to your instructions.